Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Old Reader New Reader. We have a special guest, TikTok Tina.
Hi.
Hello, Tina. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. A little tired, a little sleepy.
That's fair. We had a long weekend. Going back to work. It sucks.
Oh, it's only Tuesday.
But it's already Tuesday.
It is already Tuesday, but I don't want to wish my life away and just but everybody's working for the weekend, so.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Oh, welcome to your first chat. Perfect place to be. We got a good book tonight. I'll be able to join tonight, but I just want to chime in and say this series is almost perfect. Whoever doesn't like it is wrong. I think you'll have some people agreeing, because I already saw Tina's Goodreads rating. Oh my, from here, little baby piss boy vampire. That'll be referenced as we talk about this book, by the way. Mm-hmm. Bar better be showing up. Bar's got a job. It's a good one. Nick, we might just sell you on this one, I think. Hello, Chris. So we are talking about X-Terminators, talking about the one from the 2022 to 2023. Volume 1, this is 5 issues. From what I understand, this did not continue, unfortunately, which was a bummer. It's very good. The original X-Terminators is the only one that matters. Ryan, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. But they made these for the girls. This is for the girlies, I think. So in this, I talk a lot about how I wish there was more downtime and just fun, kind of filler-esque time for my superheroes, right? So the big stuff matters. You and I both we like big stories too. We like a lot of twists and action and things. But I also really like fun shenanigans. And that's what this book is completely. So we'll get into spoilers, but just as a quick, how this all starts. Dazzler breaks up with her boyfriend after she finds out that he has been cheating on her. And when she does, she's like, hey, I need to get drunk tonight. I need to forget about this. She calls Jubilee and Boom Boom. And they all go out to the bar to have a nice time until, surprise, they are kidnapped by said boyfriend, who apparently is Dracula's grandson.
Which was an interesting twist.
Dracula's grandson also works along with the Collector. Mm-hmm. So they end up having to kind of fight these vampires and fight their way out, along with who they run into, Laura Kinney, a.k.a. It's not 23. Was it X-20? Wolverine. I was
right. It's Wolverine.
To me, she's just Wolverine. So, also with Wolverine. So they all team up. They have to fight their way out. So that's the quick
showdown.
Beginning of it before we just talk about it, because we'll talk about spoilers. But again, this is only 5 issues, so this isn't going to spoil any big overall X-Men canon or anything for you. And I think it's still fun, because even us talking about this, we're not going to be able to do all the jokes justice, and we're certainly not going to be able to do the art justice.
Oh, absolutely not.
So I guess let's get into this. Tina, you are, I guess, more of an X-Men fan than me. I like X-Men, but you've read more of the X-Men comics than I have.
Yeah, well, all my knowledge is before Age of Apocalypse, during Age of Apocalypse, that's when I left comics. So my X-Men is very centered in a certain time period from basically 91 to about 98 or so.
So I jumped on around the time you dropped off, I think.
Yeah.
But you have cosplayed Jubilee.
I have.
So when I saw this cover, again, I knew nothing about this. I saw the cover. I saw who was in the group. I was like, okay. Looked up nothing about this book. And I thought this will be good.
Well, I knew nothing either about this book. And when I was reading it, I was like, so you already mentioned Dracula. And the last time I had cosplayed Jubilee, somebody stopped me. And you have to remember, I cosplayed Jubilee in 2010, 2011-ish.
Yeah.
Somebody stopped me at Dragon Con and was like, oh, what do you think about Jubilee being a vampire? And I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? Because my knowledge was gone. I'm just wearing Jubilee. I'm just dressing as Jubilee because I love Jubilee so much. I love her in the animated series. I connected well with her because I was a teen at the time, or tween. And so they were like, oh yeah, she's a vampire. And I totally forgot until I started reading this book. And I was just like, I forgot Jubilee was a vampire. And it very it like goes over and she's like, yo, yeah, I know about the Vampire Nation and these bylaws. And I was like, yeah.
Okay. Comics are fun.
Comics are fun.
I obviously we're here, right? I love comics. I love them. Comics are also dumb. They are dumb. They're silly. There's a lot of silly things that happen in comic books, but
it's
awesome.
Great. I mean, it's so involving vampires doesn't like, we're already like dealing with people that have mutant abilities.
Oh yeah.
Their powers. We're suspending belief here. And I even remember reading, I don't know if you have read Storm and Dracula.
No.
Yeah, so that was a thing too. So that was like in the 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
That's something I read when I was younger. So it's not just Jubilee. Vampires have been a theme, you know, werewolves and stuff. They come up occasionally, ghouls and stuff. So this stuff enters into the comic sphere all the time. It's interesting though when we have like vampires, otherworlders who are the Fae.
Yeah. And they mentioned that as well here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of all of the vampire involvement with things until I played Marvel Midnight Suns, which a huge part of that is fighting vampires. It is like Morbius is there. Yeah. You've got magic. You've got all these like Marvel characters, and they are all fighting vampires and doing these different things. And like, it's a great time. And also Blade. I always forget about Blade. So I didn't know until like last year when I got to Marvel Midnight Suns. I was like, oh, this is really cool. The series felt like adult X-Men Evolution meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I'd love to hear about your first, like, let's talk about like the first vibe of it. Like, so the girls getting together to go out to the bar before they get kidnapped. How did you feel like immediately upon starting this? Because immediately it's like
like I'm just slipping in to a girls' night out. I'm like, yeah, like we've done similar things. Like, oh, you're feeling bad? Do you want to get some drinks? Let's go out. Like, it slipped in really good. I loved Jubilee's exchange with, like, Boom Boom. Just her, like, being like, well, you look like this or you look like that. And it's, like, it could be heard from outside, like, very hateful, but girls do this all the time. Yeah. Like, they kind of, like, are throwing insults, but it's all fun and games because you have that close connection that it's not taken seriously. Like, you're just actually supporting people. Like, they're talking about, like, Dazzler's, like, ass.
Oh, yeah, because they talk about she's making fun of Boom Boom's boobs because they're so big. And they talk about how she's flat, but she's like, but Dazzler's ass, though. They're like, yeah.
Like, working out? Like, and she's like,
damn, you got a big old dumper. What are you doing?
And they're sitting there fighting, and they're just like, oh, you got a big old dumper. Like, what have you been doing? Have you been working out? And she's like, oh, actually, yeah, I've been going through this routine.
Yeah, and Laura Kinney's in there, too, be like, oh, that's really good. Like, yeah, you're obviously doing a great job. And I'm curious, chat, because maybe some of you were reading this or like were hearing on the internet people's reactions to that as this was coming out. Because I could see this coming out and some people being like, whoa, not my ex-women or whatever. But to me, this is the most like this is how girls talk. Like this feels so genuine. Of course, because Leah Williams is writing it. And now, Always Insecure mentioned Power Girl series that she's writing right now, which I'm definitely going to jump on to because this feels very authentic.
It does. It feels very college, like that younger age, go out drinking. Like this is something that would really occur. It's not just these ex-women are eye candy. They're actually embodying women who are going out, empowering each other, taking care of each other and taking care of the situation, which is, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. And I like the way the whole team flows together. So like at the beginning, we just have our girls all hanging out and like Boom Boom comes in and she's like, oh, I thought I was all dressed up. She's got her pigtails and like this cute little dress with her boobs out or whatever. And she's like, where's all the hotties?
Depression party.
Because Jubilee's wearing this big hoodie that just says like in Chinese, Cat University. Mao Dashui or whatever.
Yeah,
very cute.
I put them out. I couldn't read anything else.
They're all just chilling. They're just having a chill time about it. She's like, this is my favorite bar. There's like never anybody here, which maybe there's a reason why nobody's there because it's owned by vampires. Also, your ex-boyfriend that you just broke up with, who apparently is a grandson of Dracula.
I did think that was weird though, because like he was talking to a girl in the room that he met at the Mr. B's or the bar, and then she goes right to that bar, and I'm like, is this suspicious?
Listen, Dazzler isn't always the brightest. She's just great, but she's not always the brightest tool in the shed, you know?
I don't think any of them are like, I love them because I know they're not necessarily the brightest, but they're doing their best.
Yeah.
And I think
which is a funny, honestly, pun intended, because
well,
because brightest.
Because they're all pretty bright.
Yeah. I mean, I love them so much. So then they get kidnapped, right? So we are brought into, apparently this guy works along with the collector.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is able to be afforded some, I guess, liberties in that space. So they wake up in this sort of arena type deal, but they're all separated. They have to get back together. But the arena is almost like set up uniquely for each of their powers, which are all light based, which is very interesting. That's a cool like way to bring these together.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking about that. Like, these are characters that maybe aren't everybody's like top pick. I love Jubilee, but I can't tell you how many times like people are like, really, Jubilee? Like fireworks? I mean, but she's more than that. And they're trying to show you that these women are a little bit more than just pyrotechnics. Like, they are explosionary, they are light based, but there's more to it than just that.
And I love this part because, like, each of them have to get through these situations in ways that they would not normally do. Oh, God, that's so funny. Oh, that's when Dazzler calls Jubilee on the phone, and she's like, Jubilee, what are you doing? She's like, my best. That's what I'm doing. Because she's like, whoa, chill out. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off that way. I just need to get drunk. This is what's happened. Just like, she's like, whoa.
Like, she thought it was an attack, like coming for her. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, why are you just? And she's like, my best.
It's like relatable. But I love this because, like, Jubilee just ends up being like chained to this car. She's in some like monster truck race. And then you've got Boom Boo, who's in this sort of like swamp area, but she can't use her explosions because it will awaken the monsters. So she's like, I have to work differently. And each of them have to do that. Like each of us have to work differently to get out of the situation. And they're so smart about it, which I love because I think I can share at least a picture of this. Because like Boom Boom, if you just looked at this picture, right, you would think this girl is just a bimbo with nothing in her head. But she's so much more. They're all so like clever as they're dealing with things in this book, which I really appreciate because they're more than TNA.
Right. And they put her in like the nastiest like sewer swamp area.
Yes.
Like, just her describing it like, why do you smell like that? And she's like, we'll talk about that later, basically. Like, I had a rough time.
Which I love because I think there can be this loss where, you have a lot of people illustrating and like writing these like sexy characters. And in some ways it can feel like it's on like a different gaze, right?
Right.
Or I'm sure some people can see this and be like, how come you love this, but you don't like other examples of like sexiness in comic books? But this feels like true to characterization.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, you can definitely tell that a woman's voice is coming through. Like, people will look at it and be like, well, these are similar jokes to what somebody else has done here. But there's a different, it's just, and it's almost imperceptible to some people, a woman writing a woman versus a man writing a woman and using similar jokes, but the brunt of the joke falls differently.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily, oh, like you think of a dumb blonde. It's not that type of joke. It's, oh, you look at me, you think of a dumb blonde, but look over here, I've got something else going on.
Yeah, it's a kind of like, it's that relatable one where I feel like at one point Boom Boom's probably like, dumb, maybe with my finances, but not in combat, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I read that both Dazzler and Jubilee could fry retinas and cause major stroke to their targets. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not necessarily about the
crushing their pearls about this book on Reddit, which is wild, right? Because they're like, these are very sexy ladies. I don't understand what's here.
Maybe it's because they felt it's not for them. I think it's for them. I think it's for somebody who wants to enjoy like a character's not a normal mission, but something like kind of that happens to them in their life, and it kind of gives a little bit more about the character itself.
Yeah.
And sure, it's written by a woman. It has a woman's voice. It has a woman's tone to it, but it still relates. I think if you kind of let some of these like little niche words go,
so good.
It relates across the board.
It's so funny. I love it so much. Yeah, I love all like the fighting through here, and then like, and they're all covered in blood and guts and nastiness, and their cute little outfits, and it's just great. This and it feels like this is on. I feel like this story is catching up with like modern storytelling right now. If you look at a lot of just like women comedy movies and stuff, I feel like this matches it. It's that level of like, we love ourselves and we're hot and we're sexy, and also this can be really gross. We have some self-deprecating jokes, and we're not going to take those people that are being rude to us seriously.
Yeah,
and it matches that like comedic value very well in ways that comics isn't always afforded that chance to do, especially in big two comics.
Right. It's about taking themselves seriously, but not too seriously. Like seriously enough that they're like, we've got each other. We've got each other's backs. We're strong women that can do our own thing, but we still need each other.
Yeah. And we love friendship in this.
Friendship is
like, to me, this is like the level of like, I just read the Peacemaker book by Kyle Starks based on like, I mean, relying heavily on John Cena's version of Peacemaker, which I would love for you to watch with me so desperately. The humor is our type of humor.
Okay.
But to me, this is like the girly version of this, like in the best way, you know, not in a way that demeans any of it, but just like, I want to just have fun with these comic book characters. Well, here's X-Terminators and here's Peacemakers, where I'm kind of sitting right now.
Right. And this is really fun. Like, I think if you like something that's a little bit more like lighthearted, in matter, this is a book for you. It really shows you the characters, like a sort of a profile of the character on their day off. It gives you some fun aspect. It doesn't take themselves too seriously, but it also takes the character seriously on what they can do with their abilities and showcases it to their best.
Absolutely. So eventually our crew, after surviving and getting bloody and throwing up, get united with Wolverine X-23, aka Laura Kinney, aka one of my favorites of all time. Have you read All New Wolverine?
I haven't.
I think I've read it twice for this show, but honestly I would do it again. You would love it. She picks up an actual Wolverine. It's the best. It's so funny. But I love it. Like, Wolverine shows up and you're like, oh crap, because they're like all in like a silly, goofy mood, sort of. And Laura is in full costume and she looks really rough. And she's just like, hey, what's up, you guys? Also, we talk about these great, like, I love the way this book is put together, because also the way they have the content advisory warning, I knew I was in a good time. Contains graphic violence, drug reference, suplexes, partial nudity, and pervert vampire.
Oh yeah, I forgot that funny. Jubilee totally goes crackhead crazy and like suplexes. Yep.
Yeah, because they're like, we have to entertain, because they realize they're being watched. And Jubilee's like, oh my god, you guys, I've watched so much WWE. Don't worry. It's just like immediately suplexes, boom, boom, and you're like, Jubilee, stop.
They're like, Jubilee, quit it. And she's like, no, that's good. Keep going. Now throw some punches.
So then we get this, like, you know, present and then past, which I like that bit, because you see them talking to, like, you know, this X-Men like council, and they're like, what? How did you get here? You started this whole fight with the vampires. Like, you can't just do that. And then they're in these like costumes, like Boom Boom's in like, this clown costume. We got Dazzler in a cheerleader costume, Jubilee in a Japanese schoolgirl costume, and Wolverine in like a witch costume. And I love that immediately, like, wait, what? We were just this bloody fight, and now we are here. What has happened?
Right, because they were like, you're putting too much personal stuff in there. Can we get more to the meat? And they're like, oh, well, we'll just skip ahead all this. And they're like, no, we need some of that stuff.
Like, then let me tell my story, please. This is when it was, I think it was Scott under the helmet or whatever. I don't remember. Laura's my favorite. I prefer over Logan. I love Laura. I love her. I think her story's really neat. I think the way she acts is really interesting. She's just an interesting character. So they get brought in to Alex, grandson of Dracula's private collection. And we learn a little bit more about Alex, we learn about his father's like, hey, we're not supposed to be causing a big stir here. They've obviously are doing some things that Dracula would not approve of.
Well, he's excommunicated him.
Yeah. And Alex is just trying to collect women from all over the globe because he's the ultimate F-boy.
He calls it his harem.
Yeah. He collects them, he puts them in these little costumes. Of course, we have this like really cool fight scene as well. I should have stepped over that. A cool fight scene where they're fighting versions of themselves. They have to blind each other. And they're just being really it's great because they're fighting each other, but also have these really great like one-liners at the same time.
Yeah.
Where it's like so mean. Sorry, I'm just like a little hungover. And it's just all this like blood fighting people. And just by set to why does Boom Boom smell like raw eggs and bubblegum? Like it's just this very the action scenes are great. And there's so much character to them. Oh, babies.
Yeah, my cats are like go nuts now.
So I'll jump ahead because they get kidnapped. Like, oh wait, no, I can't jump ahead. We have to talk about Boom Boom.
Oh.
Boom Boom's big attack.
Oh. Boom Boom's big attack.
I think we can show that.
Yeah, because everything's like literally like blinding. She's so blinding.
Yeah, they're fighting the vampires. They're doing their best. And then they're like, okay, Dazzler does what Dazzler does best, which is entertain. Right.
Well, and she's going to hype. She's like, guys, I really need to store basically some sounds so I can bust out of here. Jude's done her thing. What are we going to do to really rile them up and ramp them up? And like Boom Boom's like, don't worry. I got you, fam.
And it's great. She's like, I'm going to grab my assistant. And she's like, and now presenting a very special striptease from Boom Boom. And Boom Boom's like, wait, what? And it's like, oh, okay. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's so good. And this whole time, Jubilee's also charging up and she's apologizing to Wolverine, which I love. Because she's like, hey, I promise that we're not normally like this.
Yeah.
Wolverine's like, don't worry. I find you all equally disappointing. I think they're so, but it's like in a jest, like it's a cute way. But this is the best scene ever. It's so good. It's so good.
I love the friend dynamics on this. It's kind of like, Laura's kind of like the mom friend almost.
Yeah. She's just like, okay, but she loves them.
She loves them. She's going to take care of shit that needs to get done. And she's there with the crew. She's going to put up with them. She loves them. She's going to get shit done.
Yeah, because Jubilee's like your more relaxed friend. I'd say Boom Boom is more of your ditzy friend. Like I would say promiscuous friend. And Dazzler's the one that's like...
Dazzler's almost kind of like the normal friend.
Yeah.
But has the boyfriend a week almost kind of feel.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like normal friend, just bad in luck with the dating is always bringing the girls together because she's always got a sob story.
Oh, absolutely. It reminds me of my favorite character from One Piece, Frankie. He's like a half robot. He has the nipple light.
Yeah.
Nipporaito. And it's like this big, like, stupid.
This is great.
Also, I love this in between all of these is these little like just little writings here where it would be like one of them was said looking respectfully, like ooh, and then this was just it's just cute. It's like a nice little addition to add fun to each of these chapters of the book, which I think is really cute. I hard agree, Erin. Yeah. I think because honestly, the art is incredible, and I think it's the perfect addition to her writing. I would not have it any other way.
It meshes so well. I wish this team could form again because this is a match made in like I think comic heaven, at least for spin-offs or one-shots like this. Like it works so beautifully for this book.
It's hard if like the writing is really good and really funny, but not all artists are good at. They may have really great art and they do really great action scenes,
but it doesn't
not great at
the writing.
The face.
Right. And
Carlos is very good with showing emotions on the faces. Mm-hmm. And the bar is low, but he he delivers in this for
I
sure.
would say the bar's low on this. I think like it works so well together.
Yeah.
Like he brings out her writing superbly. Like, and whoever colored it, the colors are beautiful.
Colors are so good.
They're so good.
I'll look it up because I didn't see it when I was looking, but
I know, because we were talking about the art right before we jumped on, and I was like, who did the art on this? Because it's gorgeous.
And we do have to talk about, because now there's no way to avoid this kind of talk. I won't apologize. Over your new reader, the language rules don't apply. But we have to talk about what Kirk mentioned here, which is one of the best pages, because they find themselves in the his collection room. It is part of the collector's like whole planet or ship or whatever, where all these women have been brought together, and they're all like dressed up. They all have to wear like a certain outfit.
Well, and they're like, he was going around and he's like, you can't hide behind the like clothes rack, push him up against the wall. And she's like, excuse me? Like, do you want to watch us pee? Oh, you're just saying this. No, well, no. And he's like, no. You can't have escape attempts. And they're like, no, we know what this is about. You want to watch us pee.
Yeah, it's so good. Listen, you're just
don't try to hide it. We know what you all about.
It's an excuse for a poorly disguised fetish, is what she says. But I love it. She's like, "Oh, little piss boy, piss baby, pee boy," and he's like, "You're horrible." He's just so upset about it. It's so good because honestly, I could see us in that situation and saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like a D&D campaign that you and I would be in. And we would be antagonizing the DM.
Well, it's a way to gain power from their captor, which is great. Like, make him feel a little bit smaller. It gives them a little bit of an edge up. Yeah, he might do something later, and he does to kind of be like, well, I'll show you guys.
Yeah.
But it's gaining that little bit of power in the situation and turning that situation around so that you have that iota of power.
So Brian Valenza did the colors. I'll have to remember that because I'm very impressed. This all turned out. It's so good. I have the digital, but I'm going to have to buy the physical because I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not enough girl books out there. Now, somebody says it's about the story. It doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter, but I like when I can see a lot of ladies in a book together. It feels nice.
It feels nice.
So that's okay. It matters to me.
Hey, I like my swimsuit editions, and I like my just cover to cover girls in a more character driven way.
Yeah, we like both of them, so you can't say, because people be like, oh, because you ladies, you don't like when they're sexy. Incorrecto. These two ladies here.
I had Rogue on the back of my closet door and swimsuit. Oh, was it 93, 94? The swimsuit model, like, the poster books. I miss those days.
No, Chanda Sook. That's gross. We're talking about sexy stuff, not that. I'm not going to shame you off what you're into, but no.
It's not that kind of talk. You gotta talk to us on an AMA.
Yeah.
And Omar still mutes my mic.
So we get some good back and forth. They end up breaking out, and they've also like saved a bunch of people that are like caught in this collection. Not only like the humanoid women, but also these monsters that he's been experimenting on. And they do this by Boom Boom throwing little like explosion bombs in the toilets.
Oh yeah, because they're like, hey, if they've got earth plumbing, it's got to go somewhere. Let's basically, flush them out.
Yeah. Which is great. That's hilarious.
She cherry bombed the toilet, which is amazing.
And so we'll just teleport back to Krakoa with all these people. And it's lovely because it's right in the middle of all the X-Men just having this baseball game.
Yeah, the kids.
And Rogue, oh no, come back. And Rogue looking very nice.
Very fine.
I love this. I think it's so cute because you also got characters that are like, wait, is this on purpose? Is this like a tradition here to do this? Like, no, this is not the case.
This is not an Earth tradition. Don't no.
It was so. It's so well that you get a good moment with like Wolverine and Wolverine.
I wish we had more of this. I really do wish we had more of this.
Yeah, Nick, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It is a very fun, enjoyable read. You have your place for everything. If you want a quick, like this was very quick. Like it read really fast. There's nothing that's like too mind-boggling or bending. It is a quick, enjoyable read. Like this is candy to me. Like I could just sit on the couch and eat book after book of material like this.
Oh, that's why I wish we had more stuff like this. Like that's why I feel like one of the best things you can do is have your regular ongoing with all of your, life or death, difficult situations, but always have like an accompanying thing, which is just lighthearted stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just want both. So I can have, because you and I like violent movies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Books.
Like, give me
like
drama.
horror.
Like,
we love crime.
Drama, crime, true crime.
But we also want this.
Nasty, gritty stuff. But every once in a while, you're like, I've got to come up for air. And then you need something like this.
Like, this is perfect. I've got to read Battle Royale tomorrow for Fangirls Assemble. Mm-hmm. And it's good to have some levity before I jump into that craziness. Yeah, the end of it is a lot of them talking their way out with Dracula, which is great because Dracula's like, hey, you guys started this. Like, actually, we did you a favor. You didn't want that loser anyways. We just did your work. And he's like,
you owe us a bounty. And she's like, actually, let's do that. Let's do a boon. I want a boon. I don't want all that money you owe me. Let's do a boon. And I was like, what is she going here for? Like, what is she doing? And it makes sense at the end.
It's so good. Yeah, because she's just like, I want him first. And then she and all the girlies, all the ones that were kidnapped there, get dressed up. And they beat him up. They get dressed up in these cute little oh, wait, we got to show this page. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Tina May. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. I'm definitely going to look into reading this. Looks fun. It's very fun. We had a good weekend. We survived an escape room.
Oh, yeah, we did. That was this weekend. We did a murder mystery escape room.
And we solved it.
We did.
We would have solved it earlier if the machines weren't broken, but that's okay.
Machines were broken. Well, not broken. They didn't work well. They had to reset them several times without stopping our time, but we still made it.
And I hate asking for hints, but we had to be like, hey, it doesn't work. So at least
we're like, and she's like, do you have this order? And we're like, yeah, we did it. And she's like, oh, the table should have turned. And we're like, yeah, we solved it. Why is the table not turning?
I knew I got it right. Okay, so we have to talk about my other favorite page. Excuse Dazzler's great butt. She's been working really hard on it. But this one page is the best one because it's like this little chat log where you created the group X-Terminators. Laura Kitty's like, what is this? And Boom Boom says, he's supposed to skip. It's like, yo, you got games on your phone. And then Laura leaves. And they add her back. And she's like, who are you? And then she posts it again. And then Laura leaves.
I love stuff like that. Like, I like those like memes where it's like characters talking to each other, or like TikToks where it's like this character is talking to this. Give me more of that. I love stuff.
Oh my God. I've got to meet this writer. I've got to meet her. Because I feel like she gets me. This is me humor, especially drunk me humor. Drunk me is just this. It's this energy.
Okay, so if you get drunk, which character would you be? Like, how would you act?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm sure it's if we're looking at like a little triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am more so in between Dazzler and Boom Boom.
I'm
not full Boom Boom.
You're not full Boom Boom,
but I'm not not on that spectrum though. You know what I mean?
I think you're more of a Dazzler drunk.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
I'd probably do something off the wall. I think I'm more of a Jubilee drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. Especially you and me at MomoCon outside.
I'm not suplexing anybody, but I'm definitely TMI.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And you would also answer the phone with my best. I'm doing my best.
I'm doing my best. It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about, Tina. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the one by Leah Williams. She's 1 through 5. So good. Can we test this out during the next AMA? We can.
I think it's already been tested out a couple of times.
I mean, James knows I usually, if I drink, I just jump on the Near Mint Condition Discord. That's the only time I'm on the Discord. I'm not really a boom either, as I like to shake it on the dance. As to my Hoopla favorites, right? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish I had Hoopla.
Oh, I could have just read it on Hoopla. I didn't even look on Hoopla.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's one of the perks of being on the show. You get to have either digital or physical. It depends on how lazy I am, if I remember to get a copy ahead of time.
Well, I couldn't remember what we were doing, and I was like, Maddie, what are you doing?
I was like, yeah. Because originally I was going to check if it was on Marvel Unlimited, and it probably is, but that app is garbage to use. It is the worst. I hate it so much. There's no excuse. They should know by now. If you and I have been using manga apps for years.
Yeah.
And now we use them like legit, but like back in the day, we didn't have a chance, right? And those worked just fine.
You just consume everything that you can get your hands on.
Oh, it was great. I read like everything. But yeah, we won't spoil the ending because you can kind of guess how it goes. But I will say Jubilee does one of the coolest things.
Oh yeah, she does. I love that moment.
And I do want to talk about that because she tests her powers, and because basically it's made fun of. She's like, "Oh, you're just pyrotechnics. You only do small things." And she's like, "Let's see about that. I'm gonna turn into an atom bomb." I mean, so much so that it blows up all of her hair, all of everything. And I was like, "That's really cool." She went all in on this. And then, of course, at the end as well, we get a little touch of magic. We do get to see magic, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
I loved this. I loved this so much. Like, I
want to see more books that are characters that are not some of the big names, that are kind of like side characters, get together and have their best day ever.
Yeah. And there's little ones like that here and there, and like West Coast Avengers is kind of like that. But man, it's just good seeing these guys. It was nice to have a little more mature of a book too, to have them be that, because like you get stuck in just like, I don't know, you get these like restrictions in it, and it's nice to be able to read something where I feel like yes, that's how they would talk at that age. That's what they would do. Because I feel like part of why I fell in love with X-Men was the cartoon, but also X-Men Evolution.
Oh yeah, you're an X-Men Evolution.
I'm an Evolution fan. I read a lot of fan fiction from X-Men Evolution.
My wife is an Evolution fan. It was not my cup of tea.
I love Evolution. Oh my god. I like the fact that the synopsis says "Enter the Grindhouse of X." Yeah. It's just great. It just I love having these moments so much. And now because of this is why books like this should exist. I want to go and read more of all of them. Even though most people don't have their own book. I know Dazzler, I think, has her own book right now. Because one of the covers was like Taylor Swift. Someone's like, oh, is that Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Because there's a big joke right now that looks the same. Best dance team, X-Men Evolution. Absolutely, because they took the mocap straight from like Buffy. Have you seen that comparison of them just dancing in the club? And it's just like that same. Love that. Yes. It's so good. Any favorite moments you want to discuss from it?
I think we pretty much have discussed most of my favorites. Like, I do like Boom Boom basically like hit this up into the hole, and like, so it's, once again, she's like exploding or causing problems for the collector.
So good. Oh, Dazzler came out September 18th. Well, we should read that one. Because I'm kind of in love with her now.
I love Dazzler. I love Dazzler. I love Jubilee. Like, I've always liked these I don't want to call them side chicks, but I love these girls.
Because Jubilee's never had her own book, right?
She's been not that I can think of, at least not while I was reading. You have to remember like my knowledge and stuff. Like, I read Generation X. She was pretty big in that and stuff. But not that I can think of. Like, she hasn't had her individual title.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Okay, there's a mini series.
Okay.
I'll have to get into that, because that's the bummer about a lot of these, is that, like, especially with A the Big Two, I'll read a lot of like the female-led books, even like the one like solo female-led, and a lot of them don't go anywhere; they get canceled. So maybe they got 2 volumes if you're lucky. A lot of them they just don't continue, which is a bummer. Some Dazzler omnibus is releasing as well, if I'm not mistaken, October. That surely can't be a coincidence, right? I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm gonna have to add some Dazzler to the old reader, new reader picks. Yeah. I've read the first 3 Dazzler Masterworks. I've enjoyed them. Okay. Yeah, Jubilee had a 6-issue series during 2005 by Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, that would have been after I left the comic world. We were talking about that. I dropped Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah. Let me unearth that. Maybe what you and I can do this year is just read random X-Men books, and then Omar will be forever disappointed that I'm not reading mainland X-Men. It's just like, only offshoots.
Omar, when he was like, oh yeah, like when he realized, because I met because of anime. But once he realized I was into X-Men, and I used to collect comics, and he made fun of me because I used to collect the Flare cards and stuff back in the 90s, like trading cards. Like, I have a huge binder. And he's like, I need to get you back in X-Men. Here's this book. And I was like, it's okay. The art's kind of janky. I'm not going to tell you the book because people love this book. It did not.
I mean, I
win me over.
You know that I'm still living that Dark Phoenix saga reaction. Remember
Hellfire Club is really cool, really interesting. I don't really like Dark Phoenix. I think Gina's an okay character. She's died and come back too many times for me to care.
Yeah, I'm not a big Jean fan, but to be fair, I grew up on X-Men Evolution, so really, unfortunately I saw her as they painted her as like the preppy girl, and I was like, no, I'm here for Rogue and Kitty.
Okay,
good question from Richard. Maddie and Tina, who are some of your top X ladies?
My top X ladies. Oh, you go first. I'm gonna think and deep dive.
Rogue is my number 1, always. Magic is a new favorite for me after playing Midnight Suns. I really like her. I like her whole vibe, her whole aesthetic. I'm a big fan of her. Besides that, I feel like there's some of the B team I really like, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'd have to go
obviously I love Storm, but
right. I've always loved Rogue, Jubilee. Storm is really high up there. When I was younger, I didn't like Storm as much, but I didn't appreciate like, Omega level power she had, because in the animated series, they didn't really drive home how just OP she is, like how amazing she is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of lost in translation. It was only when I really started getting heavy into the comics I appreciated Rogue, like Mohawk Rogue, but Mohawk Storm is amazing.
Oh my God. So cool.
Unsung heroes, I think, are some characters like Myra McTaggart and stuff like that, like the assistants. I think they're really badass when you really get to know them and read them, which is a deep dive, like a deep pool. Siren, I liked Siren.
Yeah, but I'm open to trying some more because I want to read some more Dazzler. I guess I should count X-23 as well. I would love to have you read all new Wolverine. It's so good. A depowered Mohawk Storm beat Cyclops. I believe it.
Oh yeah.
Laura, Kitty,
she's
and Jean
leader
for
of
me.
the Warlocks for a reason.
I'm also an X-Men Evolution fan, so it did a lot for me to like Kitty. I like Kitty a lot. I think I read a lot of just Rogue with Anybody fan fiction. I do remember reading some Rogue and Kitty ones as well.
I read a lot of Excalibur growing up.
I'd like to read that.
I love it's so light. I love Nightcrawler. Like if we're talking about guys, like Nightcrawler is one of my favorite characters. I think he's complex. I think he's sweet.
He is sweet.
Mein Liebchen, like
yeah.
Sweetheart. But I love Kitty from Excalibur. I like those days.
I'd like to read Excalibur. I haven't read any of it yet. Yeah, I don't want to read X Factor too, because that's always looked really cool to me.
Yeah, X Factor is pretty good. I didn't get in as much X Factor growing up because, like, having low disposable income, like I had to pick my titles and choose from there. But Excalibur was always on my grab list. What If was on my grab list, and then like X-Men Uncanny.
Yeah. We didn't give this a rating. We didn't give it our rating out of 10.
That out of 10?
Yep.
Okay, I had a hard time on this on Goodreads because I was like, I want to give it like a 4.5 on Goodreads, but you can't. So I put 4, and then I put 5, and then I put 4. I would say this is probably a solid like 7, 8.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would go with an 8 out of 10 for this. I feel like the more I talk about it, the more I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see myself recommending this often and rereading this.
Yeah, I could see me picking this back up and reading it again. So it's something that I definitely have got on my buy list now for a physical copy.
Yeah, same. And I don't have a lot that does that. Chris gave it 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Try not to go with the halves. Like I'm like 7 or 8. It's got to be one of those.
And chat, if you have any recommendations, because I really like this. I'm always looking for more stories that are like this. Now, I'm not against, of course, reading bigger events and stories. I like those as well. But if you have any recommendations of these like little kind of like diamonds in the rough, of these kind of just fun times,
like spinoffs.
Yeah, I always really like to hear that. 8 for me, probably a book that I can pick up. No need to be in the mood or anything special. Absolutely.
It's a mood lifter, I think. Yeah,
because some of my favorite Marvel stories are like Annihilation, but I have to be in the mood.
Right.
That is not just like a. Interesting. Do you read comics digitally first before getting physical copies, or does it depend on what you're reading? It depends on. It depends on a lot. One, availability. If it's something that it's sometimes just easy. It's laziness. Or it could be cost. Like if I'll read it digitally, that's just what's cheaper and easier fast. But if I really like it, I'll buy it physically. But often I tend to buy things just physically but before reading them, but that's because of impulse control.
A little bit of impulse control in me. Like I read manga so much now that if somebody has recommended it to me, like I trust their opinion. I know what I like. I'm going to buy it. Every once in a while, I'll purchase something just blind. And you get bit sometimes. Like you're like, I really wish I had not wasted my money on that. I didn't enjoy that at all. I'm just going to donate to the library or give it away. Somebody else might enjoy it. With comics, I'm a little bit more picky because I've been out of comics for so long. I don't really keep up with them as often unless somebody's recommended it. So if somebody recommends something to me and I trust their judgment, it's something of a similar vein, or they're like, if you read a recommendation is great with me. You like this, you'll like this title. Yeah. I'm more apt to listen to it and pick it up. It's not that I'm necessarily reading it digitally all the time. It's more reader recommendation.
Yeah, I will say for like longer series, I prefer to like read it online or get it from my library first, so I can kind of like test it before.
Yeah, if you're
especially with manga, because manga is like it's an investment for sure.
Me, I'm like,
I read so fast. So I have to think hard now about stuff because and I always have. I mean, I have since I was a kid. Where we buy a new book, like a manga, and I read before I got home.
Oh yeah, because
that's still me.
So fast. I think manga is cheap and attainable, at least still now, for most things, unless it's a big like anthology or a series that's really huge. For omnis, like if you're plunking down $100, I want to see what I'm buying first. I want to know these stories and love these stories, or I want to get a good chunk of knowledge of what this book contains, and if I'm really into most of it before I plunk down $100.
Absolutely. And I like having omnis and big trades because I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck too. And luckily, you and I are different than Omar, where I don't collect everything just to collect everything. I'm very particular about what I really like to have.
What you curate, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be really worth it for me and fit into what I know that I will want to read again, or that looks really nice on my shelf. I will say I am a completionist on certain things like Junji Ito, but the rest is not the case.
Yeah, there's a few things that I'm going back that I wish I'd gotten when it was coming out, and I regret now for manga because it's out of print.
Oh my god, yeah. So much. It's fun.
It's so much fun. I am collecting like UAT stuff right now.
Oh, nice.
Like I own some of them, but I didn't buy all of them. I read them like partially digitally, or how you did back then. A friend had a volume. I read it that way, and I would just buy what I could get my hands on. And I regret not buying some of this stuff sooner.
I feel that way about a lot of stuff. Tia, is there a book you thought you would like, or you wouldn't like, but liked after reading it, and vice versa?
Like comics or like manga?
I think it's comics. I could say manga too. We'll leave it the general.
That I thought I would like and just didn't like.
Or that you thought you wouldn't like, but end up liking it a lot.
Oh, that's a hard one. Do you have one?
That's hard.
I'm gonna look
my head for wouldn't like. That's hard because when I like something, I forget that I ever thought that I wouldn't like it in the first place.
Right.
If I get surprised that I like something, then I go so hard for that thing forever after that. I don't like things halfway.
Yeah.
I really like them or I really don't like them. Or I forget about them. But when I like things, I really, really like things. Maybe Animal Man. I could see myself before reading that I probably thought I wouldn't be that interested, and I really liked it afterwards. Oh man, Elliot would know. Hey, Elliot. Is there a character that I said, oh, I'll never like them, but I read their book and then I liked them? Superman? Oh, Elliot says Superman.
Oh, okay.
In general, so any Superman story, because I probably thought same as most who plays boring, and I am a huge Superman fan now. All those comic books turn me completely.
One manga that I've been putting off that I actually read digitally, like I was like, it's got really high stars.
And Nova, but the kid one. Sorry, go ahead.
Nova. Have you heard of Imanon? It's like no name backwards.
No.
So check it out. It's interesting. So the premise of this manga is that there is a being, a girl essentially, but she's been different species, that has a collective memory. Cool. She has all the memory from when she was this like one cell thing, from floating into the ocean, all throughout human evolution. And what it does is, like, now that she's human, once she hits a certain age, she gives birth to herself.
Whoa.
And her memories pass to the child that she gave birth to. She loses her memories. So the body, the host, loses memory. And it's like her going throughout her life. And so I think there's 4 or 5 volumes out right now. I've read up to volume 4.
That looks really cool.
It's really interesting. I loved it. I actually didn't think I would like it as much because it's not something I normally read. And I thought I would probably hate it, but I wanted to give it a try because it was so highly rated. And I love it. It makes you think. It's kind of heavy without being too heavy, but it's getting to some serious stuff.
I like that type of story a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's talked about, it's highly rated, but it's not talked about enough, I think.
Yeah.
It is really, really good. I genuinely enjoy that one.
Okay.
Something that I thought I would love, but ended up not liking as much.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, it's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I hated that comic
really,
just completely.
just completely. That
I
one's
hate
gonna
that
be
book.
harder. I don't know, like Hairball. I picked that comic up because I was like, oh, it's horror, suspense. It involves cats. I'm gonna love this.
Yeah.
It felt rushed. I wish it was more. I wanted it to be more. I didn't really like it as much.
I run into that a lot with a lot of different graphic novels where I pick up because of the summary, like the style of the art, and then I just find myself wanting, and then it ends up being like it's not bad, but it's not great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and there's like some Yuri titles that are like that.
Oh God, so many.
Where it's seems interesting, but it's just like, I don't like it.
Tina, it's not a book, but I think you should watch Drive Away Dolls. I do too. I think you need to get together.
I need to watch Sleepaway
Bottoms.
Camp.
Yes, you do. We need to watch Bottoms. We need to watch Drive Away Dolls.
Okay.
Like a lesbian comedy night.
Okay.
Here, let's be last question, then we'll wrap up. What are your top 3 manga you'd recommend to get someone into it, preferably not too long of a series if possible? That's tough because that takes away my top pick, which is Monster. That's always my go-to first. Like read Monster.
Suspense. It depends on what you're into.
It really does.
Reader recommendation, Summer Rendering. It's sci-fi suspense.
I've been wanting to read that.
It's really good. It's done in 6 volumes. I did TikTok about this. Like I know people were like, oh, people talked about it and then it was gone. It didn't come up on my radar at all until Omar's like, hey, you need to read this. Here's the first volume. And I was like, I love this. Give me more. That one's really quick and easy read. It reads fast. There's twists and turns, but nothing that leaves you like stumped and guessing.
Yeah, for shorter is hard because a lot of them are
so long. Like all my top ones are usually pretty long. That one's a short one.
Monsters 10 the special editions are 10 volumes, but I'd say if you like horror, one of my easiest recommendations is oh my God, why do you go? But Junji Ito, Uzumaki.
Uzumaki, okay.
To me, that's the Junji Ito. It's a one and done. It's Junji Ito is best. Mm-hmm. A nice, I call it cozy, comfy horror, which is not what most people would say.
No, but I think that's like attainable horror.
It's
I think
cozy to me. Yeah, it's tough because there's so many good ones, but they're a little bit longer.
Right. Like
even the shorter ones tend to be like 10 volumes.
Well, everything that I'm collecting is still ongoing. And so I'm like, that's so hard for me right now to like.
Promise Neverland is done, and that's really good.
But I would say that's
it's
longer,
only 180 chapters. But here's a good thing though. I will say,
if it's a double-digit volume set, then it's too long.
I will say, if you're like, I want to read something, but man, it's not like financially responsible for you to do or like easy or accessible that way. The Shonen Jump app, which is like $3 a month, is one of the best ways to just dip your toes into a lot of different series.
Yeah.
Because they're all there. You can read 100 chapters a day. It's great. Oh, bye, Richard. Have a good night. Bye. Yeah, it's hard. I'm trying to think of like shorter. There's a lot of shorter like romance manga that are good, but I can't think of shorter like Mermaid Saga.
Mermaid Saga is pretty
good. That's
good.
only 3 volumes or 2 or something. It's short. That one's good.
Yeah, everything on my read list that I've really enjoyed are longer series.
Yeah, which had a tele because if you didn't mention the length, I would say Monster, which had a Atelier, and then Junji Ito, just to get like a good like mix of books.
Yeah. So definitely Summer Rendering. That's probably going to be one of the top ones. Everything's ongoing. I'm sorry. Yeah. Maybe something older like Old Boy if you want more suspense. The ending was okay on that one.
GTO, if you like something a little more funny.
Yeah, if you like something a little bit funny, slice of life.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's that limiting factor of it's got to be short.
It just doesn't exist anymore. Everything is so long. We're
it
One
doesn't-
Piece fans, so
They do
really,
not.
for us,
allow-
we are in it for the long haul with a lot of these stories. Chris said I haven't read a lot of manga, but I am enjoying Vinland Saga. I do want to watch that.
Vinland Saga is really good.
I'm in an anime watching period right now. That's all I'm doing. So now I'm back on Tina's level. I finished. Well, I caught up on Delicious in Dungeon last week.
Delicious Dungeon. That's a good manga series, but
yes,
I think
it's still going.
It's double digits. So
oh god, it's so good. It's so good. I'm watching Overlord right now. I really like that. Vinland Saga's on the list. And I'm probably going to rewatch and reread Oshinoko because that's my favorite one right now. I am hyper fixated. I am ready to cosplay again. I am like planning.
Yeah, that's another one that's in my collect. It's right now my collection that I'm focused on is Oshinoko, My Happy Marriage.
Oh, so good.
Toilet Bound, Miroku-chan.
Oh yeah, I want to read that one really bad.
I love that one. It's
That's
a little
horror one, right?
It is. She can see yokai or
that.
monsters. I've got some.
We need like I just want to sit and read manga all day, and then we plan cosplays because I think there's so many things I'm like, oh, you should cosplay. I'm like, Tina should cosplay Freerun, or like Tina should cosplay this.
I'm getting older.
It does not matter. I understand. It doesn't matter. We need to do Delicious in Dungeon cosplay. I found the armor stuff. I think I'm just gonna make it for Elliot.
Okay.
I'll cosplay the dwarf.
You'll be taller than me.
Yeah, but you and Heather should be Marcel and what's her name?
Fidden.
Yeah, something like that.
Fidden.
I forgot.
Yeah.
What we need to do is like make a cosplay and then review the series on here in the cosplay. Just me, you can't see my mouth.
I have done it. I've not done it. I have thought about doing something like that, but then I was like, the amount of work you have to put into doing something like that.
Well, that's why we just review something for a cosplay we want to do anyways.
Okay.
That's why I was like, Delicious Dungeon, fine. Freerun, fine. Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah, Apothecary Diaries, Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Oh my god, I love Ascendance of a Bookworm. I love that series so much, and I would love to own them all. I don't have the money to do that.
I have all of them up to current. One's about ready to drop here. For the manga, I don't have the light novels, so I'm collecting as the manga.
Yeah, I want to come over.
Okay.
I'll make snaps, and we can just parallel play. We're just you read a book and I read a book. It'll be great. We'll put on some Japan walking videos.
Oh yeah.
And we won't talk for 5 hours.
No.
Anyways, that's our friendship, guys. Just kidding, we talk. Tia, this was really fun. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah. Chat, you've been wonderful today, and I really appreciate it. This is a good time. I'll be back next week. I know Joe Corral is coming on the show. I need to message him and see what we want to read. But I'll be back next Tuesday. That's planned. All of June is planned, you guys. I'm like ahead of the game. I did it. There's only one Tuesday in June I won't be here, and that's because I'm getting a nose surgery. So I can breathe again and smell. I haven't smelled in 3 years. Anyways, Tina, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome.
You can catch both of us on here all the time, randomly. Have a good night. And everybody take care of yourselves.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.